In Star Citizen FR 4.1, most players are caught in a chaotic gold rush, fighting off Ninetales, competing for red and blue keycards, and activating orbital lasers just to breach a cavern said to hold rare and valuable minerals. But we took a different approach. Instead of diving headfirst into the conflict, we watched the battlefield unfold and waited. Because where others saw opportunity in confrontation, we saw it in the wreckage left behind. This is the new sandbox activity in 4.1, and here is how we turned destruction into reward. For this expedition, I wasn't alone. I went out with the Rat Club, Shadowrise, Deplorable Infidel, and also Race Guide, who was kind enough to join the operation. The plan was simple: survey the aftermath of the chaos and salvage whatever we could find near the orbital platforms and the alignment facilities. We started with light fighters, sweeping through the area to identify right hotspots. Some locations were picked clean, but others told a different story. Fields of debris, scorched hulls, and the shattered remains of combat ships. That's where we decided to strike. Before we could begin salvaging, we had to secure the area. Any intruders or opportunists could jeopardize the entire operation. That's why when we found a lone vulture already working the wrecks, we decided to give him a polite warning. A few well-placed shots across the bow to make our intentions clear. Unfortunately, he didn't take the hint. Instead, he tried to ram one of our fighters. At that point, there was only one option left. We engaged and neutralized the threat. Unfortunate for him, but in the end, just more salvage for the pile. Not long after, we detected an incoming arrow. Again, we weren't willing to take any necessary risks here, so we moved to engage, but this time things escalated. The arrow was soon reinforced by a hornet, turning it into a proper 2v2 skirmish. Unfortunately, both enemy ships focused their fire on me, and therefore I did not have any other solution but to retreat and eventually regroup. My wingmen followed suit, but just as we were falling back, they turned their attention on our reclaimer, which had just arrived to begin the salvage operation. Losing it was not an option. The reclaim timer is brutal, and we couldn't afford the downtime, so we regrouped, drew the fighters away, and bought our salvager the window it needed to escape. Shadowrise managed to quantum out safely, and shortly after, so did we. It wasn't the outcome we had hoped for, but in Star Citizen sometimes a tactical retreat that saves your assets is a victory in itself. Still, it was clear that this location was too hot to continue, so we set course for the next site. Our next destination was the Raptura orbital platform above Aberdeen. This time things looked more promising. Several abandoned ships drifting in low orbits, but we were about to start salvaging in the open here, exposed to hostiles. That's where race guides came in here, piloting an SRV. The plan was simple here: to tow wrecks away here and eventually set up our own little chop shop where we would be able to work without any interruption. We started with a Constellation. Everything was going smoothly until its owner decided to come back and flee. Now, this wasn't something that we would allow. We've already invested time and resources, and that ship was valuable scrap. So we made the call. We took it down. Yes, it meant taking a crime stout, but the payoff would have been worth it. The ship didn't explode and gave us the perfect opportunity to position the reclaimer right above it. Hull scraping began immediately, and once the exterior was stripped, we proceed to much it down for additional materials. And then the wrecks kept coming. Race Guide and the SRV proved essential, towing in mid-sized ships with precision. More Constellations, a pair of Corsairs, all of them brought in, stripped down and processed without incident. The system was working, and we were making some solid progress. But in Star Citizen, success can be a dangerous thing, and it didn't take long before ambition got the better of us. That's when we spotted a wrecked Polaris, and with it, an idea. What if we could recover the torpedoes and eventually sell them? It sounded risky, but too tempting to ignore. We boarded the wreck, located the torpedoes, and carefully loaded them into a C2 we'd brought along for such an opportunity. Once everything was secured, the C2 jumped to New Babbage, headed straight for Center Mass here, where we hoped to convert those torpedoes into a serious payday. After dropping everything in the freight elevator, we went back to our reclaimer so that we would eventually transfer all the materials that we would have salvaged into the C2. Unfortunately, in Star Citizen, success rarely goes unnoticed by the game itself, and as you are going to see, things didn't go as planned, because indeed, just as everything seemed to be falling into place, hard reality struck back. First, Shadowrise suffered an untimely power outage, so his ship was still functional, we could still fly it, but many of its systems were not responding properly. Most critically, we lost access to the salvage operation room, and just like that, we knew that cashing in on everything that we had processed up to that point was off the table. All that worked was just gone. And the bad news didn't stop here. When we attempted to sell the recovered Polaris torpedoes at Centamas, then nothing. The shop's terminal just wouldn't show the torpedoes at all, and so that meant that the shop was not buying anything. The system simply just wouldn't recognize them as sellable items. So now we were understanding the reasoning here. Maybe CIG was trying to prevent exploits like selling your own torpedoes through alts, for example, but it's still a blow to immersion here because we took a real risk. We pulled off a successful recovery operation, but we came back empty-handed. This gameplay loop has potential, but for now, it remains just that, potential. The reward, at least in terms of in-game profit, simply isn't there yet when it comes to recovering torpedoes. Now, for, of course, the salvage, we just hope that Shadowrise will be able to see his ship in the at New Babbage, that the ship is marked as stored and not as unknown. If that's the case, then we are still going to be able to get paid in the future. In the end, we did not get any Alpha UEC in our pockets, unfortunately. Between system failures and current in-game limitations, the operation was not profitable. But what we did see was potential, and a lot of it. The combined power of dedicated salvagers like the Reclaimer paired with the support ships like SRVs to retrieve and reposition wrecks forms the foundation of what could become one of the most lucrative and dynamic gameplay loops in Star Citizen. The systems are here, the gameplay is in place, we just need reliability. CIG has called this year the year of playability, and that if that's truly the direction that they're heading, then refining and stabilizing these systems need to be a priority indeed, because when it works, even for a short while, it's immersive and engaging, and it's the kind of gameplay that makes you want to come back. So yes, we will be trying again, because even if the reward wasn't here, the vision is. That is all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As I said, we are going to try again, so make sure to subscribe because I will make a video and show it to you guys when this operation will be successful, because I'm pretty confident that it will be. So hit that subscribe button right there. Also, if you subscribe and comment to any videos posted this month, well, you can be in for a chance to win this Super Hornet right here. 10 entries will be put into the Wheel of Names, automatic entries for Patreon and YouTube members. A big shout out to Shadowrise, Ducky to Ducker, Tokar Tarsicius, Dr. Forbid, and Zero Crusher. I have been Erad. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.